So we're going to continue with visualization. Okay. So make sure that you run these two chunks of code. Okay, so we need the library tidyverse. Okay, and tidyverse it contains a bunch of libraries that are very useful for data manipulation and data preparation. Okay, and also it has ggplot in it. So run that. Make sure that you have that available. Okay, and data file, this one, right here, Boston Housing. Okay, and you have to run this code as well. So you will have the housing.df data frame set up. Now, last time we set up basic bar chart with ggplot. Okay, so in ggplot we give the name of the data file or data source, and then what we need to plot. Here we are trying to plot the values of Chaz, okay, which are zeros and ones, and we want a bar chart for that. Okay, so in ggplot we only indicate where the data source is and then what variables we'll be using for the visualization. Okay, and then you have to specify what visualization we want. Okay, that comes outside of ggplot with a plus sign. Okay, then when you run that, then you get this plot. So this is our basic bar chart. Okay, and then here Chaz was a numerical variable that we forced into factor using the as.factor function. Okay, now as.factor works when you want to convert a variable to a factor on the fly. But if you want to convert a numerical or character variable into factor permanently and then give some additional information, then we have to do it with a separate code, and that is called factor. Okay, there is a code snippet. Okay, so if you do, all right, so factor, okay, we want to convert Chaz into factor. Okay, and now when you use the factor function, you can also give labels to the different values in the factor. So the factor function, okay, you can not only convert a column into factor, you can specify labels for the different values. Remember, this variable Chaz indicates whether the property is adjacent to Charles River or not. Okay, 0 means it is not adjacent. Okay, 1 means it is. So we can say labels equal to, and then you can provide the two labels. So we can say no and yes. Okay. Now if you run this line of code, it will convert this into a factor, but it won't save it back into the data frame. okay, because it's just factor and that's it, right? You want to put it back into the data frame, so which means you have to say housing dot df Chaz. Okay. So now it will convert Chaz into a factor with these two labels, okay, and then put it back into Chaz. Okay. Let's do the same thing for cat medv. Cat medv is category of the median value, okay, and it's again 0 or 1 depending upon whether the property value, total value, is less than 30K or greater than or equal to 30K. So we can say, all right, factor, right, housing.df cat medv, and then we can say labels equal to, say, less than 30K, okay, within quotation marks, so greater than or equal to 30K.
In the line code that's 111, do you mean to have a $sign in between housing and DF?
Here?
No, the previously.
One.
In between. Yeah.
111, did I miss it? Oh,
To the left.
that should be a,
Okay, just making sure.
my mistake. That should be a dot.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you. Yeah, of course, of course. Now, if I run this, it's going to give me an error. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. All right. Okay. So now if you have a factor and you want to know what the levels are for a factor, so we can do levels. Okay. Levels of housing.df $Chaz, and then we can do levels housing.df cat medv. Of course, this is not going to do anything for us except show you the levels, okay? And you will do that only if you want to look at it. Okay? If you want to look at what the levels are, then you can do this. Okay. So it tells you what the levels are. Okay. Now what all this means is that when you prepare a bar chart after having set up the levels in this fashion, your bar chart is, is not going to show you 0 and 1, it will show you the labels, which makes the bar chart a little more readable, right?